Hello everyone. So this video is it's going to definitely be a two-parter. I have a lot of things I need to talk about with this webtoon. It's kind of the more of the popular webtoons that have come out of recently, even though there's been a myriad of new popular webtoons from line webtoons that have come out. So today we're going to talk about Days of Hana, and I'm going to divide this into two parts. The first part will just be about what has happened and my thoughts on it, kind of, sort of, but then the second part is definitely going to be about my personal favorite character of the whole series, Jeff. And there's a reason why he is my favorite character of the entire series, but we're definitely going to get into that when at the second video. So without being further, let's begin. I've often done Days of Hana reviews, a lot of many times. A lot of good, powerful stuff has happened in the webtoon series so far. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful depiction of racism, prejudice, and how that really affects the world, and how just the world struggles with this with other people in all forms of life. Now, if you don't know Days of Hana is from the creator of Orange Marmalade, which honestly, if you haven't checked out Orange Marmalade, it's an amazing, powerful webtoon, by the way, that kind of focuses on the same dark themes as Days of Hana. But I will say, Days of Hana has definitely topped Orange Marmalade to probably the 100th degree in terms of seriousness, in terms of powerful elements that have been played in this webtoon. How? Well, let's find out. So, Days of Hana is about a werewolf by the name of Haru. This is just if you are just now catching up to it, or you just need a refresher. I'm just going to refresh a little bit. And basically, he has stayed all his life with his master, Hana. And it tells about how they both fell in love with one another. And basically, it's a romance story revolving these two characters, but it also follows the prejudice and racism that the werewolves have to undergo, being that they are not humans under the power of basically human beings. Now, I'm going to say this about Days of Hana before I say anything else. I'm just going to put the disclaimer now. This is not for little kids anymore. I feel like it was never for little kids, but it was at least tolerable. It is not for kids anymore. There's so much adult content in this webtoon after a certain point that it's just not child friendly anymore. Like, people die, people are massacred, shoot, a lot of very graphic adult stuff happens. So I'm just letting you know right now, like, this is not for kids. It's pretty freaking drastic. Now, a lot of many things happened in this webtoon, and that's kind of what I really enjoyed about reading and catching up to Days of Hana, is the fact that it accelerated at a proper pace, but it was enough to really catch me off guard. A lot of the stuff that occurred in Days of Hana recently, I just would have never expected out of a webtoon. But it is a clear depiction of basically the real world and how we experience prejudice and racism, and how human beings are fighting, and how we're handling it, and how we are trying to change it. And I really like what happened recently, because it kind of shows you what happens when you mess with anyone and you push them to their limits. What do I mean? So in Days of Hana, there's a character by the name of Chaco. Chaco was, because he was lame, he was basically discarded by his family, and he was placed into this werewolf care center by the security, by the caretaker, who has malicious thoughts about werewolves, and he does malicious things towards werewolves. And we find out later, to create the ultimate perfect werewolf that is stronger than anyone else. Now, basically, the caretaker takes him to the arena. If you haven't known, the arena is where humans bet on werewolves, and basically they abuse werewolves' lives, and they basically have them fight to the brink of death, if not death entirely. Chaco was forcibly put into fight against Hook. Hook, there's a lot in this. Hook, we come to find out, is Haru's brother. When his mother realized that Hook had the heterochroma, which is basically multicolored eyes which react to the moon, which gives the werewolves more power, in order to save her own son, she basically gouged his eyes so that it was never discovered. We come to find out that Haru has the same thing, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. But basically, Hook is insanely overpowered, and this is the reason why he is so strong. It's not because Haru or anyone is just weaker, it's just that he's just a special werewolf, birthed to be stronger than basically everyone else. So basically, he fights Chaco, and he kills him. And this basically starts the chain of events that will lead to the disaster that ensues. So because of Chaco's death, which is caused by Jeff, which is low-key why Jeff is one of my favorite characters, this causes Hook to go on a rampage. And basically they massacre everyone who took in part of this horrendous activity to abuse and to take advantage of werewolves. So they just murder every single body that they can. It is pretty much disaster in this banquet hall, and that triggers a chain of events with people's fear of werewolves, which chains them to start massacring the werewolves. It's, you see how the cause and effect, but this is all caused by one person, by the way, Jeff. But again, I kind of have to say that to evaluate my point. Then we come to find out later that Haru is actually Hook's brother, and he is a heterochroma just like Hook. I don't really know why his was hidden, but when he was pushed to the limits in which everyone was about to die, he awakens to absolute power, and he is stronger than basically that of even his own brother, which was quite shocking. And now that he's on a mission to try to save all of his werewolf counterparts, even if it's the cost of his own life. He wants to make a statement, which I feel like is justifiable, that werewolves, or even, let's just say people, are not just toys to be taken advantage of. They have souls and they have a right to live the life the way that they want. Side note, I was really sad that Miho, one of Haru's guardians, she died because she couldn't take the pain of loving someone who obviously wants to push her emotions away, and that caused her to kill herself, which I was really not expecting, and it was very powerful. So basically, as I've said recently, I like where the webtoon went. The webtoon gave us a 180, and the reason why it's so powerful to me, because this stuff happens in real life. There's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of people who revolt because of it, and people do die. And then it creates a whole loop in which, you know, humans are killing one another, humans are killing werewolves, werewolves are killing humans, because there's so much misunderstanding, there's so much judgment, there's so much pain, there's so much racism, that it just creates this malignant loop that ultimately everyone loses. And that's exactly what happened in Days of Hana. Everyone just lost. Haru lost his brother, we lost Chaco, we just lost a lot of people, and the death count continues to rise, especially as the webtoon reaches its climax, I dare to say. And it is, like I said, it's pure gold. If you haven't been watching it or reading it, you definitely need to be reading it. It's very powerful, if I do say so myself. I'm gonna save the fast pass stuff because I don't want to spoil it, but disrespect future things to come in the future about, you know, this webtoon. But I do feel like it's ending very, very soon. And that is part one of my recap and review of Days of Hana. Next video, I'm definitely going to talk about Jeff and how Jeff is such a strong and powerful character, unfortunately. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video that I make.